guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be the September makeup roundup video where I talk about my favorites, my fails, any updates on products that I have been testing out this month. We do have a lot of holiday releases to talk about as well. First things first, I do want to thank Zuvi for partnering with me on a portion of today's video. We are going to be talking about my very first favorite of the month and also a couple of months now. This is the Zuvi hair dryer. First of all, the color of this is so gorgeous. This is basically a Tiffany blue. They call this Aurora though, but there's also a really beautiful white color. Instead of heat, this hairdryer uses a combination of infrared light and then high-speed wind to dry your hair. So it actually really does a great job of minimizing hair damage, but still drying your hair and doing the nice style that you want to do. So I've been really enjoying this one because of all the hormonal changes I have been going through. I really like the fact that I can keep my hair as healthy as I can using this product. As we know, heat does unfortunately contribute to hair damage. I can definitely tell when I dry my hair with this hair dryer versus other hair dryers I use. There's just like that noticeable softness. It's really cool because it dries your hair on the surface, but it protects the hair's moisture within the hair shaft. So you do get that noticeable softness and shine. And Zuvi is actually running a promotion right now on their website. You can get 15% off the Zuvi Halo. Plus, if you use my code Jenna5, you can get an additional 5% off. So that's really lovely. I will have a link to the Zuvi Halo blow dryer in my description box along with my code there. So definitely check out this hair dryer if you're interested in something new. I really do like that this price point is also really nice. There's some very expensive dryers on the market, and this one is definitely not breaking the bank too badly, so I do like that. We do have really nice attachments here for any styling needs. This one's really great for like smoothing and getting that sleek hair look. I use this one a lot when I want my hair to be straight. Thank you so much to Zuvi for partnering with me once again. I have worked with them in the past and I really, really love their hair dryer. Now let's talk about the Hourglass release that came out this holiday. I really look forward to these palettes every single year, and we do have 3 options for the actual color stories this year. Plus we have a 4th palette option, like outer casing option. These are the Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked palettes. This first one here is Jellyfish. So I really, really like the artwork with these. They do a great job with the designs. They're so lovely. So this Jellyfish is beautiful. And when you actually open it up, you will see the color story that comes standard with this one. So on the Hourglass website, you can interchange them. You can grab a 6-pan of a different one and you can place it in a different outer casing. So it's kind of cool how they do that really unique kind of selection there. This color story that's standard with Jellyfish though, I'm going to be honest, I'll tell you which one is my favorite. I do like this one, but I find because this one is more like setting powder heavy, this one is not my favorite collection. I do like the bronzer color. I do love the blushes in here, but we do have 2 setting powders, and if you're more into the Hourglass setting powders versus the blushes and the bronzers, you'll probably like this configuration the best. The next one is the least number of new shades, which is the Cheetah one. This one is, first of all, the outer casing is gorgeous. I love this. I think the cheetahs are so cute. Did I say cheetah? I meant leopard. Wait, are cheetahs and leopards? I'm gonna literally sound like an idiot. I'm gonna Google this right now. Hold on. Hey Siri, are cheetahs and leopards the same thing? No, they're different. I should edit this out. I probably won't, just for your kind of entertainment value here, but cheetahs are the fastest land animal. Of course, we knew that. Leopards are far bulkier, stronger, and generally heavier. Who knew? Okay, this is leopard palette, not cheetah. Okay, so this one has the least number of new shades in it, like I said. So if that's something that's more important to you, this one I believe only has 1 new shade. So we do have a lovely array of shades in this one as well. So I'm obsessed with this one too. I would say this one is in 2nd place when it comes to my favorite color story and the one I would get probably the most use out of. But I really like the outer casing of this one. I think it's fabulous. Such gorgeous, gorgeous drawings of the leopards. And then when it comes to the outer casing, I forgot to mention there's one more, which is the owl. So the owl didn't come with a default color story with it. It's one of those kind of variations you can do. So you can grab any one of these 3 6-pan variations and place it inside the owl casing on the Hourglass website. So that is that. But you know what? This Hourglass launch every year is so exciting for me. It's definitely one that I really look forward to. Let's talk about the first place palette, which is Snake. So a couple things about that. I'm a 1989 baby, so when it comes to the zodiac, I believe I'm the year of the snake. So that was kind of cool. Really gorgeous. You know what? Snakes, though, are not my favorite animal in real life. But I really do like the artwork and the design here. There's lots of detail to this one. This one has the most amount of new shades in this 6-pan as well. But I do think like probably the optimal one for new shades and usability for me personally would be this one. I also love the other two, of course, but if I could rank them, this is what I would choose. So I really like the Hourglass formulas. All of them are consistent in all 3 palettes. There isn't a dud in any of them. So when it comes to quality, all maintained, which I love. And if you guys are interested, I do have a code for Hourglass's website. It's code Jenna, and you do get 10% off. I think that's kind of handy, especially because Hourglass is pretty luxury, and that 10% off will help you out a little bit. So code Jenna if you are interested. Let's get into eyeshadow palettes. There's quite a few to talk about. The first one is the one that surprised me the most. This is the Patrick Ta palette. It's the Major Dimension 3 palette. So he does have 2 others, as you can kind of deter from the name. But I do like, which is kind of cool, just like the packaging detailing. So on the outer side, we have this like sticker that you don't see on the other palettes. The other palettes are kind of reflective. This one has like a sticker. I do think it more so speaks to the matte, you know, shades that are inside this palette. So I do like those kind of details. It does have rose gold packaging like the rest of his line. I'm going to tell you right now, those 2 cream shades, I'm still kind of learning where I would use them. I really, really like the 10 shadows that are the matte shadows. I think they're fabulous. I really was surprised at how much I would like them, considering that I really almost always wear shimmer. I mean, even my eyes today are shimmer. So using matte shades is not like an all matte look is not typical for me, but this one is such a beautiful palette. I'm still going to kind of look into like video tutorials, maybe see how Patrick Ta uses those cream primers on the very end, because I don't really know how to use them. They're so dark, and I don't really feel like I have the confidence to make them look unified and even. You could technically use these as primers too, for sure, especially if you have a darker complexion, that would work perfect. But for me and my personal needs with this palette, I just don't know how I would kind of incorporate them into my look yet. So I'm still kind of figuring that out. Besides those 2 cream shades, I really do like the rest of this palette, and I'm very, very surprised. So I'm thinking about doing kind of like a showdown of like what's like the best matte palette, you know, because I keep getting questions about that. So let me know if that would be helpful for you. I want to talk about the most recent launch from Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is the Fall Romance palette. I have to say this outer packaging is absolutely beautiful. I really am drawn to it. That deep plum purple is gorgeous. It's kind of like a suede material, and then the gold Anastasia branding, beautiful. I think they killed it with this. Now, the color story. I do think it's nice, but I think when you see the swatches, you'll know what I mean. This palette is quite deep. When it comes to shades, a lot of them are quite dark. So if you are wanting a palette like this and you're thinking, you know, I typically wear lighter colors on my eyes, this one might be more of a challenge for you. For me, I like that there are those pops of shimmer because it will brighten your look a little bit. For me, if I start putting some of these deeper colors together, it's going to look quite like vampy. So I think that that is, if that's like your prerogative, it's going to look gorgeous, right? But the fact that she included those shimmers in here is by far a saving grace for me, because I couldn't do dark looks all the time with just dark eyeshadow on dark eyeshadow. I would definitely use the top row, especially that gorgeous purple is really, really beautiful. I've used that a couple of times. The quality is really consistent, just like the rest of her palettes. I think it's very strong. This one here, the Moonlight shade, it swatched a tad more poor than some of the other shimmers, but I do enjoy this one. I just think that it's more of a palette I would pick up for a vampier, darker look. You kind of have to be very purposeful if you want it lighter, because you do have to kind of incorporate those shimmer and that purple. Otherwise, it's going to be quite deep. But I didn't actually realize how dark some of those shades were until I got it in hand. So that's also something to note if you are looking at picking up this palette. Before we get into Charlotte Tilbury's holiday products, which I did do a review on, I want to talk about the NARS release this year, which also surprised me. So let's talk about the outer packaging, because wow, I think it's really pretty. I love the gold detailing with this. This is the eyeshadow palette. It's called Endless Nights. This one's not that bad to open, which I'm really thankful for. Sometimes some of them are a little trickier. I really like this palette. So they do come out with Christmas palettes year over year. They are the 9-pan, just like this. And they do typically have kind of a berry, pink, little bit of brown kind of motif about them. So they don't steer too far from the norm when it comes to these. You can often expect similar colors year over year, but I actually really think all of these shades are so strong. The exception here is this pink. So this pink here is a little bit thinner than some of the other mattes in this palette, but I do think it's still usable. You just have to layer it a little bit more. Not a dud shade, just a little bit of a more high maintenance gal in this palette. Normally I like the cheek palette launch over the eyeshadow. If someone were to ask me, which one's your favorite, the cheek palette or the eyeshadow? I only want to get one. I often say the cheek palette launch is my favorite, even though both are good. I'm gonna say this year, which is a surprise, that I actually prefer the eyeshadow palette compared to the cheek palette. The cheek palette purely because of the color selection this year. The quality is maintained in both. The eyeshadow's great. This cheek palette is, that is also my problem. So as you guys can see, my my blush pan right here at the bottom, I have one that's broken right here. So just kind of like luck of the draw with that, unfortunately, but I do like this palette when it comes to quality. I do think this gold highlight is gorgeous. This pink is really beautiful, has quite a bit more of a pinky pigment this year. So it kind of stretches over multiple skin tones, which I like. But I do think some of these, like the blushes over here, it's kind of more like fall colors. Lots of orangey copper blush, like a brownie blush kind of. We have that really deep berry. So the only blush that I actually wear a ton of is the one that keeps falling out. So this palette as a whole, I don't think I'm going to get as much use out of as some of the other holiday palettes that they've come out with, just simply because of my style and the blush colors I typically wear. So it's really beautiful if this is something that you are interested in, like the quality is maintained, but just look at the swatches. If they do fit your preferences, your complexion, things like that better, I do think it'll be a great palette. But some of those colors this year are not quite the style I wear on a consistent basis. Charlotte Tilbury, let's talk about that. I went through this in a full in-depth review, so if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. This is just going to be kind of a highlight reel, so to speak, on this product, which I love. I love the eyeshadow palette. I think it's worth the buy. I think it is so beautiful. I really, really love the quality of the mattes, which also have a bit of a kind of creamy sheeniness to them. I think that the colors she has chosen are wearable. They're gorgeous, really beautiful for sparkly holiday looks. Definitely love this one. But the duos, I think at the end of the video, you guys saw me struggle with these a tad. And she comes out with colors like these a lot because they simulate kind of the pillow talky vibe, right? It's a very bright coral blush for a holiday launch. I do think the highlight is really nice, but I think that because this is so similar to her Pillow Talk beautifying palette, I think this is one thing you can definitely skip from the holiday collection. When I was able to use the appropriate fluffy brush for the blush, it did kind of save the application, but I think this blush formula that's in these palettes has a tendency to cling to dry patches on the skin. So if you do have your foundation that's not quite set, or you have drier skin, or your base is just not as moisturized and evenly moisturized, this is one that can have a tendency to cling. I do like that she's come out with 2 different options. Like there's also a tan to deep option. So it's really nice if you are a fan of them. But I think they're a little bit pricey for what they are, and I think there are better places to spend your money. Nice, lovely, a bit high maintenance. You can pass for sure on those. I do want to talk about a highlight that kind of let me down. This one is the Giorgio Armani Holiday Highlight. It's from the Luminous Silk line. Although the outer packaging is nice, it has like a textured glitter kind of case to it. This is an interesting highlight. It's a little bit deeper for my complexion, but when I actually swatch it, it doesn't have like even luminosity to it. I don't know, it's kind of orangey with like not a ton of shimmer, and the shimmer that's there is kind of inconsistent. So I don't know, that could be part of it, but it's also more so how the pigment looks and the way that the shimmer is not super uniform. So this one is pretty pricey considering it's an Armani highlight, and I'm like, I'm disappointed in it. I don't know. Maybe other creators love it, and if there is a tip to make this work, by all means, please share. You can avoid that one. That one was hard to say, but it's true. Really quick, I want to talk about the pressed powder from Huda Beauty. This is the Easy Bake powder. I love this. I think this is great. If you are a fan of her powder, that is the loose powder situation, this is basically the pressed version, and in my opinion, I love this more because I am a pressed powder gal through and through. If I could pick, pressed is always my favorite. Loose powders tend to get a little bit messy on me, and I do love her loose powder. I think it's very, very well done, but it's like, please make a more user-friendly version of this powder, please, and I love it. It says Easy Bake in there. Really beautiful, feels very lightweight on the skin, definitely has a mattifying effect. Just seems to make your makeup last quite a long time. And I like to kind of set my foundation with something like this. Then I can put on like Hourglass finishing powders for more like luminosity and stuff, but that is a great powder. Just so you guys know, that is lovely. The last product I'm going to talk about in this kind of September roundup are the new Merit eyeshadows. So I'm actually wearing one right now. This is called Social. This is a beautiful creamy eyeshadow. I put that all over the lid first, a little bit on the bottom lid as well. And then because I kind of wanted some shimmer, I did use the Moondust from Urban Decay in Space Cowboy and just kind of placed it over top. I really like these. And I did see that Urban Decay had a Moondust kind of eyeshadow palette. It was like I think all 4 shades in a palette. And I was like, ooh, maybe I should get that. So let me know if you want a review on them. But I really like this Space Cowboy shade, especially over Social. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you to Zuvi for partnering with me on a portion of the video as well. Don't forget to check out the hairdryer if you want a nice holiday gift for somebody, or you want to try some new tech when it comes to blow drying your hair. I think this is really lovely. It's made my hair feel so soft. So I will have the link in the description box for sure. And until my next one, guys, take care and stay safe. Bye, guys.